Welcome everyone. We now get ready for some brand new, messy, and anticlimactic fun, if you can call it that. But really, the way I look at it is basically this is a movie of the changelings. That's all it is. You think that, that this has like a underlying message in it. Who knows? I mean, really, all I know is it's a good action flick, and there's definitely a difficult plot for those that want it. So, is it better than the original X-Men trilogy? Well, it's probably been like 12 years since I've seen any of those, but basically, from my standpoint, yeah, it is. I think it can compete with it. Like the reboot is nothing to be ashamed of, and really that's a particular good thing because um like it puts like a new spin on things. So we're gonna get started, and I've got the DVD copy of X-Men First Class. So you should be seeing four options. Play should be on the very left, and we are just going to get started. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1. There's going to be an invisible 0. And that's when you'll press play. Alright, everyone. 3, 2, 1. Now, yes, what we have in this film is a lot of action, a little bit of plot, and a little bit of spice thrown in for good measure. And really, what I thought about this was just, well, it's X-Men, but is it like a darker version of X-Men? Like, they're not afraid to cross the line a little bit and, just do what they don't want. Now, in particular, it's hard for me to really comment on these characters and actors because besides Jennifer Lawrence and I think I don't necessarily know terribly many of the actors in this film. I did look up who played Charles Xavier because I liked him. His name is James McAvoy, and he does like a really good job as Charles Xavier. And Magneto shows up in the film, and he does well as well. But like the thing about it is, it's just it kind of conflicts with their relationship because like apparently these guys are like well they're just brain allies. Like they just I don't know like the word for it. They're like they compete with each other who has like the better brain, and like they make it like Sebastian Shaw is in this movie, and like thing is I don't really know who Sebastian Shaw was. It's just kind of um like you would think that, okay, so what's going to happen? Well, I can tell you, and basically what does happen is um it really turns out to be like a treat for you, and like you may be thinking like, well, like look at this. Like the whole idea behind it is that the mutants cannot coincide with humans, and like humans technically like they would be scared, like that's just the main purpose. Like really anything that we would encounter they would be scared with that is not human. I mean, really, like especially if it's intelligent, like really, there's just certain purposes in life that aren't meant to be, and I think that they actually are. It's not that I'm saying that, but you just gotta pay attention. So, like, what happens is that this film starts off just showing their skills right away, like someone that they just grow to show, like like Mystique is a particular hot note. Like you could, like you couldn't say that like, oh well, it's just like, like comic book lore, like there has to be someone for the ladies these days. Like, and I don't know necessarily like how much, like, oh yeah, Mystique, she's on my Halloween list of, like, I mean, a woman would have to be really dedicated to be Mystique for Halloween. Like, I mean, because guys would get a full look at her butt, and like unless they just wore like a costume, like I don't know, like really it just would be um that's just what you got to say. But like really, I mean, you would be saying like, yeah, I've I've had her on my Halloween list for like 3 years. I just this blue paint just always sold out, so that's why I didn't pick her. But like, I think probably that when you play this film, you gotta say, well, what's going to happen? Like, the thing about these people is like, how much do they know about Marvel? Now, when I was 10 and 12, I cared about how much they knew about Marvel. Now, as I'm 24, 25, it doesn't matter as much. I mean, really, like, there's several, like they get like Azazel and um Emma Frost and a bunch of X-Men that I don't even know. They get a bunch of them into the film, and they even get Banshee into the film. And that's someone that I paid attention to. But like the thing is just like I'm. It doesn't. It's not as important to me as it was 12 years ago, whether or not like they're consistent to the comics. And I think possibly like for the target audience, like I mean, really, if they're making this film for 13-year-olds, then probably they are going to do things. But I mean, there's no X-Men. Like comic books are so lost these days. I mean, there's like if you were to have every comic book, you would have like a library. Like there's just no way. If you like X-Men, there's X-Men Unlimited, there's X-Men Origins, there's X-Men Typhoon. Like really, it's just too much X-Men, and it's different from the way it was in the 60s. And so it's just like you may think, well, okay, so what would we do about this? And my whole take on it is basically, um, I think the films just kind of particularly pick like the best comics. Like they say, like, okay, issue 13 where Charles Xavier lost feeling in his legs, that was a good point. We're just gonna tell some of the early adventures. Like I mean, that's what Spider-Man's doing. Like they made Kurt Connor his they made Kurt Connor like his father's partner, and if you read the comics, that was never the case. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but Kurt Connor he didn't know, like, but they had to do that because it was a movie. Like there just would have been too many underlying things. Now, like he gives him an ultimatum. He says either you move this coin or I'm gonna shoot your mother. And I think that this is the same woman that we saw at the like we just saw like 5 minutes ago when he tried to break through the gate. And I don't know, like like no, um, mothers are for good boys. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, like you're not gonna need that now where you're going. But like really, I don't know who my favorite mutant was. Like, surprisingly, X Men. Like, I used to have a friend that was obsessed with X Men, but I never really was obsessed with X Men. It was always this is probably one of the cooler ones because people could say, "Oh yeah, X Men, I know about it." But Wolverine, okay, Wolverine, I like him, but I don't know. He's just I mean, if you ever get tired of the rugged man, and you're saying, "Well, I want someone who shaves and can," you couldn't see Wolverine being James Bond. You know what I mean? That's the thing, and it's just Wolverine fits a role, and it's not one dimensional, but it's just you can't really do anything besides that. That's him. He's Wolverine. He's got an attitude. He says "bub." He just does things, and like I mean, but did the character ever tire? That's the thing. People said, "Oh no, Wolverine was like Wolverine," but um, I like Gambit really. But then I also like Toad, and I'm not afraid to. I mean, I didn't like Toad in the comics. The only reason I liked Toad was because of Ray Park. He actually brought that character back to life, and no one's done it since. No one has said, let's make a cool character out of Toad. But really, I mean, I know that's kind of a low income character to think of, but I guess really Gambit was one of my favorites. I liked Iceman, I like Banshee, I like Nightcrawler, and I like Angel. And those the original 5 X-Men, I like, and I like Cyclops. Three out of 5 of the original X-Men I liked. When it was Iceman, Cyclops, Beast, Angel, and I think Jean Grey, maybe one other person. I liked 3 out of 5 of them, and those were the 3 I liked: Cyclops, Iceman, and Angel. Now, now, James McAvoy. I mean, I know what you're saying. Mutants, we totally we don't just trust me. If you want to see a mutation, all you got to do is all we have to do is dance. You'll feel a mutation. Like um we're mutants. We don't trust me. I don't pay for like when I drink. I don't know. That's hard. That's really hard to come up with something like that. And now, really, I mean, it's just I mean, what you're probably thinking is yeah. So how does Jennifer Lawrence fit Mystique? I mean, really, Rebecca Romaine, there was just something about her. It just I can't put my finger on it, but it was you know what? And it's not necessarily that she was a voluptuous blonde. It's just some women, by the way that they walk, they know how to sway their hips, and that's just the way it was. Really, I mean, Like the original cast in the first X-Men, I may just do that movie. I mean, I may do it just because the cast of that film was good. I mean, Hugh Jackman, he fits Wolverine, and he's in this film for a cameo. And like Halle Berry worked out as Storm, James Marsden was Cyclops, Anna Paquin was Rogue. You know what I'm saying? Like they were just they fit, and I mean, do the actors now fit? What they did was they chose up and coming ones. Like Kevin Bacon was Sebastian Shaw, and like if you know, a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, Kevin Bacon." I totally know who that is, but thing that I think about it is basically, if you're into television, you're probably like, yeah. So that's just like an extra bit of bonus for me. And really, the thing I look at is, so what necessarily do you think? You know, like, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Well, I mean, it's just like, alright, you know. And if you're paying attention to the story and you're like, okay, so what's going on? Like, and I know I could have said some more jokes about Mystique, like, why not? Like, let's talk about Mystique a little bit. Like, really, Jennifer Lawrence, like, you know, I could probably package my breath and make a cool $100,000 off of it. Like, just I could probably like that's all I have to do. Just put my breath in a jar, and you could smell. And you could all you have to do is smell what my breath smells like. That's probably what Jennifer Lawrence thinks. You know, like really, I could package my breath. I'm so attractive, and really, that girl, she is like she's up there. You know, like really, like people like her. Men want her. She's got what she needs, and like that's what I like about Magneto. He just does things. Like, believe I have cavities in my teeth, and I fucking he could just rip them all out. Like it would hurt too. Like really, it'd just be like, like that would not work. Probably my whole tooth would come out. But um, yeah, I mean, so that's just all you got to pay attention to. And like I really like James McAvoy, and I'll just say it. He reminds me of someone. He reminds me of. I mean, he kind of reminds me of Oliver Harper a little bit, and then like there's some British guys that I like, and it's like no homo, but like they're cool cats, and that's the kind of thing about them. Like Oliver Harper, he was the person I got the idea from these movie commentaries from. It wasn't. I didn't just say one day, you know what, I'm going to talk about a movie. No, I was watching RoboCop 3 for the Super Nintendo, and he did it, and I went to his profile and I saw the Batman movies, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a living out of this. And the other person is Dane Cobain, and I got the Super Nintendo idea from him just because it was like, oh yeah, well, um, but you get the idea. Let's talk about this. They're in Las Vegas. Emma Frost shows up, and it's like, you know, Salt and Pepper want their act back, I think. um, like really, I mean, like you just gotta pay attention to like how white this woman is. Like that's January Jones. She's dated Ashton Kutcher, and like, I mean, January Jones. I mean, she just fits the role perfectly. Like really, I mean, it's just like, um, her nickname should be Cow Milk because that's how white she is. You know what I'm saying? Like that's her. I mean, probably like her interest is like she's probably gonna take up knitting at age 35 just because that's what white women do. And like really, I mean, I'm not done. She's probably gonna start putting streaks in her hair at age 32. Like she probably likes vanilla ice cream. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not joking. Like, these are things that white girls do. She probably has a child that likes Adele. She probably listens to Adele in the car with her children and knocks that shit. I want you. Oh, like probably there's several fucking things about January Jones that you need to know. Like really. Now, this woman, like, I don't know who this is. Like, she's just the CIA agent, and like apparently she has like a relationship with Charles Xavier. And like the thing about it is that these movies, like X-Men Days of Future Past, I think it's called, is coming out in May. And I think that like they're doing like the early adventures of X-Men, but the only thing is that I don't necessarily what they're gonna do with these mutants because like I mean there's no Gambit, there's no Cyclops, none of the mainstay X-Men are here, and it's just like I mean, like really we've got like the villains I have no problem with. Like the villains it doesn't matter just because they have their particular set of villains. And I think that probably like Azazel and like the butterfly woman, I think they'll probably bite the dust or something, but um it's just like, you know what? Oh, we call that a hurricane. But um oh, she is fucking brittle. That woman is brittle. Look at her. I mean, her arms are like the size of my wrists. I mean, her arms are like two of my fingers. Yeah. Some women actually are that small. As far as like, I'm just gonna punish myself this weekend. Like my boyfriend dumped me. I feel like I need to. I feel like I'm gonna take it out on me. Like I just, you know, I can't have these thunder thighs and these ham hocks and these um big lumpy, like these big jiggly arms. Like forget it. It's celery and iced tea for me for like the next 4 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what women are thinking when they stay that thin. Like really, I just like it punishes everyone. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I feel like if she's laying on me, it's like I'm laying with a chair leg. You know what I'm saying? Or like like it's difficult. It's like thinking that you get the idea. Now that the movie progresses and it's like really, I mean, it goes through and it goes through, and like the main thing about it is just now. I think the particular setting of this film is that it takes place in the '60s. Like really, I mean, I think that this is like if there was ever an X-Men Zero, that's what this is. This is like 0, 0.5, and 0.75, and I think that's what these original X-Men movies are gonna be. Like like I don't know what they're gonna do about the current X-Men because I don't know how many more movies Hugh Jackman can play as Wolverine. I mean, he does the thing, but like I mean, women like him as that role. I mean, it's so surprising that they do. And well, it's not surprising, but it's just like you know what? He's found like a niche. Like really, I mean, like if you're like a porn star and like everyone loves it when you are like a '50s gangster, like that's kind of that's just it, like he found like his fucking full role. I think that's what men search for a lot of times. Is just like, okay, well, who should I be? Because it's not Magneto. Like, oh, well, I can bend I can bend the wires off your bras and make them come off. Like that's about it. Like, it's just like there's nothing that you can do. Like, don't get me started on the rest of the X-Men, but um, I mean, really, it's just like they do say, like Charles Xavier said that they have they have stronger genes, and like like really, what would you say about that? Really, I mean, just I'm not gonna doubt it, but just so what would you do? Now, keep in mind this movie is PG-13, so they're not going to necessarily show a lot of blood. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know why blood is so considered. I never figured that one out. Well, seeing someone almost dead can haunt children, and I don't want my boy Timmy having nightmares and sleeping in bed with me at fucking at 3:30 in the morning because of some X-Men movie he saw. Like it doesn't work. Like, and then I have to sing him to sleep. And I mean, and Timmy's 8. He doesn't need that. He doesn't need to talk about that at school. So I mean, but you get the idea. Like X-Men does kind of push the limits a little bit. Like really, I mean, to get stabbed through the hand, like like, oh my god, he just screams one time and then he's like, that's it. Like, you think he'd be trying to pull out the knife and run? Like, oh no, like, but like that's what they do. Like Charles Xavier just drinks. I love it. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if the actor is particularly like this though, but Jennifer Lawrence, like anything that's wrong with anything, she's like, oh no, that man has that man has more than 15 whiskers on his face. I can't be with him. As the way she is, like really, I can smell. she she's just like this routine. Like okay, doll. Like if it's a routine, then why are if it's a routine, then why am I so involved? Are you calling me an actor, miss? But like the movie switches to serious mode pretty quick. It's just like, hey, like we haven't talked necessarily about the plot. Like they're trying to get World War III started, and really, like, the thing about it is that like this is just like a nuclear war. And the thing about it is that Russia goes to Cuba with nuclear missiles and says we're going to bomb the United States. Now, if anyone ever got this necessarily, you think that's just primed invitation. Like really, I mean, most people like if the United States ever had to worry about this, I don't like the thing about it is that these roles would, I mean, there's just certain times like when I think like if I had to be the president, like people would take advantage, but like no one's going to take advantage of the United States because no one wants their citizens to die. And it's interesting seeing them in action like that, just because um they know what to do. And now watch this. He just holds a grenade. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, yeah. And like they've got to prove themselves. Like this is just X-Men. Like really, if you've ever read the comics, like they'll go from like it's just like you. I swear that like comic books you can actually learn something from. Like like someone can say in a 1980s comic book that like, hey, you're gonna learn about the culture of computers and realize that um I don't know, like really it's difficult to say like you can learn a few things. And I mean not necessarily, but just the they talk a lot. Like there's a lot of speech bubbles, and really if you look at one of the 80s strips, this isn't Dragon Ball Z where it's like they fight, and like it wasn't about the fighting, it was about the way that the fighting was set up, the reason why they were fighting. And that's kind of what this film does, is it makes it to be like um it makes it to be like, well, so this is what we do. You know what I'm saying? Like all this talk leads up to like a few explosions in the plane. Like really, there's not like a particular fight scene because there's no fighting characters. I mean, really, there's no one that just fist fights, so they didn't prime that. That's not what this film is about. It's just about the abilities and saving the humans, and it's interesting. But at the same time, like I mean, like if you're looking for that, look for Avengers, because you've got Captain America, Iron Man, and Hawkeye who all fight, and not to mention Hulk. But I mean, really, like here they are again. I like boats like this. Like really, that would just be like, I think that I want to say that that's a yacht, but it may not be. Now, really, it's just like just knocked him clear off the boat. Now, here's where things start to heat up. They're just gonna bust them, but I don't know. I don't know the reason for that. I don't know what they did. I guess that they were like Charles Xavier told them about it. Not really. I don't know. Like this is kind of. I guess this is just for special effects, really. I mean, like you get the idea. Um, like really. I mean, what you would think is like, so what is there anything fun in this film? Yeah, I mean, the film does it for fun, but it's just like, what would you want? I mean, like, yeah, there's tons of shit that happens. Like that whole boat gets destroyed, and I mean, I don't remember what happened in this film. Like, it's just like, hey, but like, really, I mean, the shit that they do with the nuclear missiles is really interesting because like they originally like they were gonna hit the island, and I guess they didn't want to destroy the island, so it was like, okay, we're just gonna have them blow up and fall in the ocean. Really, that could kill fish. I mean, I'm surprised WWE wasn't like, hey, hey, take your business elsewhere. We don't want any of that. Like, I'm surprised that they weren't. Like, but, or is it WWF? I don't know. Like, it's one of the two. But, um, like, he just tries to fuck around and get he tries to do something about the submarine. I don't know, like Magneto is there. I'm guessing. um, it is Magneto. Like he's on a mission. Like I mean, I don't know what. That's the only thing about Magneto is just like he's on like a particular mission. Like he's just like driven to. Now, really, I mean, I thought when I watched this movie, I thought that these were going to be like the early adventures, and like Magneto was going to go bad in like the third one. But apparently, it's just like these are like the early kind of adventures. I don't know. It's difficult because I don't necessarily see a Cyclops showing up. So, like, I don't know what. Like, that's the thing about it is I'm unsure of what series this X Men is based off of. Like, I mean, I don't know if this really. I mean, to me, it seemed like this was ground zero for it. But I mean, I remember them like if you go to Marvel Wiki, like they said Cyclops was the first X Man, and he's not in this film. I don't get it. Like the X Men were created in this film. I mean, the school where they are trained was shown in this film. Like I don't necessarily want to say that these are murky waters because like if they're doing I think they know what they're doing better than I do. And to me it was just like that was the way it was, like uh now Beast is in the film. Like they I guess like really I mean I don't have necessarily a problem with Beast. It's just I kind of think that like it's just a contrast to the film that like I mean we could have used for some I don't know like I'm not gonna diss him just because like they kind of established Beast as almost like unsuccessful with women, and it's just like, like the way through the film, it's like, hey, you have no reason to be down in the dumps, and that's what they're kind of saying. And but Beast still is, and it's just like, you get the idea. And so I mean, that's just it. But I mean, I don't necessarily think that Beast was bad with women. I mean, just because he was a that's the kind of thing that is like. I mean, if you're a scientist, that doesn't necessarily mean you're bad with women. Usually, that means you have the extra brain power to figure out what's wrong. I mean, all scientists are a temple. Like that's the main thing. No scientist is ever like, well, this is my life's work, and I work for 20, 18 hours a day on my life's work, and that's all I do. And like, last time I took a day off was in the Commodores, and I guess the Commodores were like the 70s, so like that would just fit out with this film. You know what I'm saying? And like really, I mean, it's just you got to say that, but I mean, really, I mean, it's whatever you want it to be. So I mean, you just gotta really pay attention to what goes on. It's just they are on the submarine, and like really, I'll tell you right now that like I could not want to be on like a submarine. Like it just wouldn't work. I don't know. I don't know why they're all the way out in Alaska or wherever they're at. You know what I'm saying? Like I could have sworn that they were near Florida. They shared a laugh. Oh. Like, it's funny when people share laughs just because like the last time I saw someone share a laugh was like an Undercover Brother, and like he was like Anton Jackson, and no, not one of the Jackson Five. And then they were both like, ha 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 ha. And like the woman laughed and she leaned in, and he laughed, and like I think that's how I would laugh if I ever laughed at the same time with someone. I would just be like, "Oh, I'm not actually laughing." But then if it was a woman, like Jennifer Lawrence would probably laugh. She would probably be like, you know, like we're not. All I want to be is normal. Like that's all I wish for. I mean, I'm just like this college age girl that has to deal with people following me a block longer than they should, and people taking photographs trying to get me up skirt, and people downloading pictures of me off the internet. Like I have to deal with all these things, and I can't deal with creepers. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I don't enjoy it. And like and it's like yeah, and I suppose Marilyn Monroe thought the same thing, like really. You know what I'm saying? Like really. I mean, I suppose Marilyn Monroe thought the exact same thing, and she was just like, ugh, can't be around these men. They're such pigs. Like they don't wash their hands after they pee. Like really. Like oh my. But like really, you get the idea. Like you know what I'm saying? Like So basically, like the movie starts to kick into high gear, and like they start learning the skills. And I know I haven't been talking about the film very much, but like this is what's going to happen. Like they're training, and like this they're saying, well, we're going to find the mutants. Like they get like this big radar thing, and Charles Xavier uses it, and he just reaches out to all the mutants, and I think he finds like they find like a couple of them, but like remember it's a movie, so like we can't have like 50 main characters, but like we get the Butterfly Girl, we get Havoc, and we get like a couple other people, and that's what it is. Banshee. And so they just do it, and like the thing I thought about this film really is just, I mean, it's a piece of work, but I mean, I don't know, like the thing about it is I think women in particular, like Jennifer Lawrence, like if you're saying like, oh, anything with Jennifer Lawrence I like, there's women like her. I really think that they would enjoy Iron Man more because it doesn't necessarily take itself too seriously. And like if you're saying like this is for people that like X-Men. Like that's the thing. It's just the pick up and play nature of it is just kind of a little bit like you're not gonna watch this film on like a Sunday with your college boys, like that's what I'm saying. Like you can watch Iron Man, and I mean, is it just because he cracks the jokes, or is it because like I don't know? Like I mean, really, I really don't recommend watching any superhero film with your college boys, not even Batman, just because like all this like I just feel like it's just like Jim Carrey. I just want to get by without dealing with the decay of Western society. But like, I just want to spend a Sunday and save the world from the rejects of American society. Like really, the like really, and like translation, please. Like a girl would say, I want to watch a film where a bad guy goes to jail. All right, I want to see I want to see some grudge between. I want to see some good versus evil grudge, and I want to see someone get trumped. And I want there to be screaming, and I want there to be lots and lots of fighting. And a girl's like, ugh, that just I don't like. I won't have what he's having. Like that's a famous line. Like I'll have what he's having. I won't have what he's having. That's what girls think. But like, hey, check's big. I don't know what this woman's name is. Like really, I want to say like I don't know. Let's call her Beetlejuice. You know what I mean? That's Beetlejuice, dog. You know, like they just map out the area. Like really, yeah. Now the thing about these guys is that they're not in their early 20s. Like Jennifer Lawrence is like the youngest one. Like maybe a couple other ones are that young, but like James McAvoy is in his 30s. This guy Havoc, he was in jail. I don't know why he was in jail. I just picked up on that, and now they just show up and recruit everyone. Uh, they knew because the energy would be on him too much. Like that's the only problem. Like, like really, I mean, that's where it would be. And I know you're saying like you're just like Wolverine, aren't you? Like, aren't you? Um, to a degree. Like the smoking and drinking. I mean, the thing about it is that Wolverine is very like I mean he's like I swear you could see him at like a frat party or something, or like even better like a house party, and you know like like just that crazy dude that gets the party started. Like, oh, you're wondering what we call him? The one that totally gets Emma Frost? Oh, we call him Wolverine. Yeah, like that man can make a shot in beer pong from 10 feet across the room. He can shoot like a motherfucker, and that I'm talking 1 cup or 2 cups. Like really, I mean, he just goes wild. But there's playing chess on stairs. Like, all right, that's something on my tongue. Trying to, I don't know, like getting hair on your tongue. I don't know. It's really weird. I don't know how it gets there. Now, like this is like the moment where, like, yeah, I mean, this the way that these movies kind of interact, like this is like the cool part where they just do like all their. That's good, but I don't know. Like, really, I'm trying to take in what to do with this. Like, really, I mean, you could just say like, so you're not actually that hot stuff, are you? That's the thing. Like, when I get pressured into doing, my coexisting tendencies are very out of place when I do this sort of thing. Like, I swear, like when there's a room full of 15 people, I won't be funny. But when there's like a room full of like 4 people, I will be funny. That's just the way it is. Like I'm a very concentrated man, and I don't know. I guess like that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, um, but hey, like really though, the next movie I'm probably going to do is Basketball. Like I'm kind of almost thinking about doing Requiem for a Dream, but like I don't know if I'm going to. This is the funny. They just go like, oh, okay. We're called the Goonies, dog. That's what we the Goonies. We don't mess around, you know. But now, really, what happens here is I don't really remember, but um, they get past, you know, chops. Yeah, they all point their guns at him. I don't know how they did that, but I really don't. Like, someone can say in the comments, like, "Oh yeah, well the way that they kind of hid from the security was by um Charles Xavier basically did this and this." I don't know. Not really. Like, Emma Frost is like his right hand man. um, like, tell me what else you do that's like a man, Frost. I think we need to talk about it. Do you do you sound like a man when you yawn? Mm? Do you pick your nose? Do you only shave once a week? Like, really. I don't think she shaves only once a week. I think we can safely say that. I'm not saying a gross man, but I'm saying a man. Like, really. I mean, do I don't. You may not get 5 o'clock shadow, but I bet you get like 7 o'clock shadow. Chin just looks particularly dark. I mean, there are women that do that. Believe it. It's pretty good right there. That's the tricks that happen. No, really, just the way that things work. I mean, it is things do get kind of interesting. Like you think, like, okay, so what happens? I never really knew Emma Frost's power. I guess she's diamond. I know you're saying like, oh no, but I mean, thinking about it coming in, I mean, that could be like fucking rhinestone for all I know. Like, really, I mean, it doesn't necessarily say that that's diamond. Now, the capital of the United States is Washington, D.C. If you didn't understand what I said, the capital of the United States is Washington, D.C. For all you ladies out there, I bet that you probably could, like, do you pride yourself in being able to understand a man? Oh, I can understand you when you yawn, Zenor. I know, I can, I just am tuned to your voice. Like, believe it, I've got the frequency, I've got everything. But like the capital of the United States is Washington D.C. and I kind of wish that it wasn't, you know, like I don't know why no one's ever said like, you know what? We should totally put this like I mean, why would you want to be in a place where and I know that like this is really kind of boring, but why would you want to be in a place where why would you want to be in a place where you have to like it's not even close to the ocean. I don't think it's just like hey it's up the hemisphere. Like I seriously would pick like a place like Houston, like seriously. I mean, oh, you're saying Texas? Like you just totally lost all my respect. Texas is going to be the capital of our United States. Well, I mean, it has to be some. I mean, really, that's the only thing that fucking Virginia has going for it is the fact that it's Washington D.C. Like I mean seriously, like just pick up the fucking White House and bring it to like I mean, I know that like it's like, you know, you should like that because it's north and not south. But thing is I really don't give a fuck because it's like 200, 300 years ago. So like my whole take on it is basically like um I don't know, you get the idea. I don't know. I don't care where it is, but I just think it should be somewhere else. But this is where the attack starts. And yeah, they say fuck it, we're bringing out the heavy artillery. They won't miss this floor, you know. But I mean, it really does work. I mean, I don't know. There's just something I don't like about that tornado power. It just kind of like, God damn it. It's just a fucking tornado. Like really, I mean, well, you play rock paper scissors. Well, I use tornado, and that means that like I can't lose. And I mean, I guess like some people say, hey, don't underestimate the tornado. Like that can rip limbs. That can rip your limbs out of your arm socket. And like not only could it lift a house off the hinges, but it could probably lift a car off its wheels. So anything that can do that, I don't know. It's funny, but really, the mutants get in their first face off, their face first off, and I am hungry. Now, like really, it's just like the thing about it is that they're actually mulling it over. And I mean, if you were a mutant, what would you do? Like you would say, well, either we protect the people that hate us, or um either we protect the people that hate us, or we fight them. And like they just think about it, and they're like, yeah, I think I'm going to. I'm coming with you. Didn't get. I don't know what that whole exchange was about. One of them dies. I think Darwin dies. So like that's it. Really. They kind of make it weird though. They just like he doesn't crumble to pieces. He just kind of starts to. I don't know. Like, but he dies, and I don't know if that happened in the comics. It probably did. Like, that's probably what they did. They were just like, okay, we're gonna have one of these mutants die because we've got too many. But the Soviet Union, haven't talked much about them. I wonder if it was like considered like against the rules for a Soviet to get together with a American. Like I wonder like I bet that create like that could be like a good trade scenario, like you can be the Soviet and I'll be the American. Like really, I've got. I mean, but how would you do it, right? That's the only problem. Like, yeah, that's kind of difficult. Like, I was gonna say, well, I've got my. Like, I don't know. Like that seems more like a an afternoon thing to play with more than a actual um more than like an actual thing to do. And I don't know, it just the way that it works is um interesting. That's funny, like avenge. Like I just thought of that, the Avengers. Like really, we avenge things. Like it's not just like the stoppers, it's the Avengers. I don't know, like just to seek vengeance. Like does that not sound like from 1985 or something? I can't believe that they actually made a movie about the Avengers. Like, really, you think that like this huge superhero lot, but like, like, hey, we don't just stop crime, we avenge it. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, I didn't just stop that purse from being stolen, I avenged it. Like, I mean, it's just this the whole thing about it is it's just blown out of proportion. And like really you could say, well, that's okay, you can avenge me. Like, how about you take your vengeance out on me? But now, like, there's a lot of boat action, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Like, I don't like deep water. I have no problem admitting it. Like, like if someone were to ever say one day we've got to get Zen or Titanic in an acting role, like I'm not gonna do deep water. I'm not gonna be in the submarine, and I'm not going to go swimming with the sharks just because like I don't like whales. I don't have a problem with sharks, but I don't want to wind up without an arm or a leg just because I went swimming one day. I mean, that's all it is. Like really, I mean, some person was just like, "Hey, let's go swimming today." Like really they could have been like in the best mood. Like, "Hey, let's go swimming. Like it's our 3rd week anniversary. Let's go swimming on the beach. We can you can take a picture of me in my beach uniform," and then that woman loses her arm. Like it's just like what would you ask for in that situation? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, sharks are like, yeah, I am a heartbreaker. Um, that's just the way it is, and I mean, really, it's just I couldn't do that. I mean, as much as I love the tropics, I'm not going to go swimming. Like, I'm not gonna do it. Like, I don't care if all my friends are like, it's gonna be alright. I don't give a fuck. But like the thing about it is that this movie, it does kind of um they basically say that like if you cross the I forget what they call it. They call it like the something line. I think it starts with an E, and they say if you cross that line, we are going to open fire. And they do a good job of Kennedy. Like like obviously they just made a black and white version of, but the person actually looked like President Kennedy, and it's surprising. Like maybe that was an actual clip of him. I don't know, but like the thing was they do a good job. Like, no, this is kind of interesting. Like he's just like, shoot me. but they don't do it. Huh. Another situation with these two. They start to train the X-Men, and it goes through. It's just like a field day with what happens. I mean, you think that like, all right, now like the thing I notice is that they don't particularly pay attention to one X-Man that much. Like they just, I swear that like it's just like they get these roles and they get um I say like and a lot, but it's just I'm thinking while I'm talking to you, and it's just my brain needs to pick up on it. They get these roles where they're in it for 30-second, 2 minute intervals, and the movie just kind of centers on everything. You know, like that's the main thing is just trying to center on how it goes. But you know, like really, I mean, the thing about it was that they actually did have different roles this time. I mean, I just think that there's too many mutants in it, and I guess there's really not too many mutants, but the ones they need more star power. Like I mean, Havoc has it, Mystique has it, but I would say Beast has it, but it's not that I don't like the actor that plays Beast. It's just that Beast in his own, he's just not that interesting of a. I mean, all he is just a big blue guy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just he's like Hulk except the opposite, and it doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like it's just like there's always the one big guy. If there can't be like four thin guys, there's got to be like one big guy, and that's Beast. And so yeah, I mean, uh oh, you better. I think she better cut the calories out of her diet. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm doing that so like I can flip up on my feet. I don't know, like really, you get the idea. Like it's just I'm doing that so I can crush a glass with my hand. That's why I'm doing it. So like when a man tries to buy me a drink, I can crush the glass so he won't approach me again. That's what like it's just like there's no good reason for a woman to bench press. You know? It was just kind of a little bit out of place there. And I missed the part where Banshee fell out the window, but like it was just that was just kind of a little bit awkward. I mean, it's funny. Marvel does try to be funny, and like when they are, it's just like what, you know what I'm saying? But But I mean, that would be a lot of fun to fly like that. He can control it. Really, I mean, that's just it. You know what I'm saying? I like that. That kind of reminds me of Halo a little bit. I'm just gonna say it like, and I know like, ooh, so you're kind of tough, but there's this map called Standoff, and it has like these huge satellites. I don't know why they make satellites that big. Really, I mean, like, what library do they need to do that? Like, like is that like for an institution? Like, I don't get it. Um, why is that there? What were they? Why is that there? Well, the reason for it is because electricity. We could power a small city with that dish, or someone just wants to have a million channels. One of the two. Like, someone's just saying, "Oh yeah, well, I've got to have like the premium package." So like that's expensive. Like I'm paying $10,000 a month for that. So that's not just satellite, but like I'm starting to kind of. I know like I really only have like the tolerance to do like an hour and a half. This really kind of stretches my patience severely, and I know like you're just saying like, oh, just bear with it, but like really it's just I don't have my Bailey's Irish today, and I don't have anything else to kind of do that with. So it's just like, hey, I mean, I might do basketball today. I watched it this morning, probably at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and like, damn it, The Simpsons was on. What happened to my dish? The embargo line, that's what it was called. I knew it started with an E. That's just it. Like things are about to pop off, and I kind of had deja vu that I was gonna say that. Like I was just like, yeah, it's about to pop off. I don't care. Like really, I'll say that all day. But so they're submariners right now, and they're just kind of taking it in control. I don't know what you think of that brunette right there. Like, I kind of think that you are. I don't know. You get. I don't know. Like, really, just it's not necessarily that I'm saying I think something about her. It's just it's like what would you think about her as an actress? I mean, she didn't have a lot of speaking roles, so it's kind of hard to tell if she's a good actress. I mean, all you have to do is fly. I mean, Like Jennifer Lawrence is like, I'm bored in this acting role. Like, if I was a freak, I wouldn't want to. Like, I don't know if you call that a good actress. I know what she's thinking. Like, men, they they just want to be normal, and I don't want to be normal. I'd rather be a mutant and have these problems than say I was a mutant. Like, like calm down, playmate. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need it in this type of role. I don't know. Like, what do you think of Jennifer Lawrence playing this role? Like, really, I mean, what do you think about that? Really, I mean, cause she's done a lot of these type films. Like, she also did The Hunger Games, and like the thing about it is, they say that she's a sex symbol, but I don't know. It's just, um, I don't know. It's just, I'm not making fun of her, but it's just, like she's more of a. I mean, this is Jennifer Love. Jennifer Lawrence is more of like a make love kind of person. That's just what she is. Like, it's like it's hard for her to suit the villain because she's like, I swear that's probably what she says. She says like, um, I made love to my boyfriend last night. She didn't say, oh my god, I fucked the shit out of him. He had me so wet. Like, I just hearing you can't hear those things coming out of her mouth. And that's just it, like she picks these roles and you say, oh, Jennifer Lawrence is definitely like that. You just don't know it. You just haven't seen that side of her. Well, the thing about it is what like I know people that are like that are like that they have a sexual side that's just very hidden, and the point to it being is, why would you only want what makes this club, like, what I'm saying, like, why is it so special that only 1% or 0.05% of the population know about this? Really, like, oh, you obviously haven't seen Jennifer Lawrence. But the thing is that, um so, like, what does that mean? So, like, only that man's friends are gonna know about that 1%, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, she is a freak, man. Like, she is. You just don't know. But what's the point in that happening if no one knows? Like, I mean, this is all you gotta say. Really, I mean, and some sexified person can coach me on this and say like, oh, well, the point of being secretive is it adds to the allure. Like, a woman who shows all her secrets is not valued. I mean, it's the basic principles of ABCs, you know, and that's just it. So maybe you could say point Zenor or point Jennifer Lawrence. I really don't care. Like, just take your sides, ladies. Like, I know what you're saying. Like, probably point her, but um, I think she turns into Rebecca Romaine right here. Take a look. I cannot tell. Like, I don't know if that's her or not. It's the way she. This I swear, like it makes you wonder what they're thinking. They just have like these silent looks on their face, like they just kind of stare. They just blink at you. Like that's what children do. They just kind of look at you and they're just. This is kind of like a father daughter talk. If you pay attention, but it is like I'll show you the ropes, honey. Don't worry about that. Like, if you think that you're going to have a hard time fitting in the world, well, you probably are, but the first thing you got to learn is how to jump rope. And then you got to learn how to, like really just going through like these scenarios. But, one thing I can definitely say is there's a lot of movies in my house, so like it's gonna be like a long year. Now, if you're paying attention to the movie, you're probably saying like, I know like the whole Jennifer Lawrence thing that I was talking about, but you're also probably saying like, um, you're probably saying that. So what happened with Beast? Um, he went and he tried to cure himself. He gave the cure to them, but she didn't want it. She thought she. It was just like the context, like that was all it was. If you pay attention to the film, it was just like they had like a context with each other, and Beast didn't get it. Like, and really, that is hard to get. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wanted to cure himself, and that was it. You know. Now, this is the finale. Like everything else has happened. We're going to take off. We're going to cross the embargo line. Like really, you could say like, I'm not even gonna do it. Like I almost said like this was fuck it. This thing about it is that it is a good. It's a piece of work. Like really, they're in Cuba. I don't know if you say it Cuba or Cuba, but like they do shoot the missiles. Everything happens, and like I know, like you're saying, well, like what's funny about this? I don't know. Like I'm running out of material, and um, I mean, it could have been really hard just to pick an island. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that they were having problems just saying, like, if we wanted to shoot missiles on an island, we could do it. But I get the feeling that they probably didn't want to kill the wildlife that was there, because there might have been, like, like some southern foxes or um some prairie dogs out there that they couldn't hurt. But I mean, really, um, I think the Blackbird makes an appearance. I'm not sure if that. I remember in X-Men that there was a ship that they called it, and like apparently it was supposed to be in like the original X-Men. I don't remember. Like that was so long ago. But um, I wonder why they're wearing helmets. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like at least if the missile hits us, I won't hit my head when I fall. Really, I mean, I definitely that won't happen for sure. And now the brig. I kind of just didn't pay attention to what happened to that missile. I think it fell in the ocean. And Charles Xavier loses feeling in his legs. He gets confined to a wheelchair and becomes what we know as Professor X. And this is it. Like this would be like the fun part, just looking at the ocean like that, being like, hell yeah. Um, yeah, I mean that just would have been a lot of fun. Makes me wonder how they did it. But I mean, I know what you're saying. Like that's what everyone wonders. But I mean, So really, um, like the ship crashes, and that's just really weird. I remember like they get they lift the submarine, and the ship crashes, and they're all fine. Like really, I mean, it's just like yeah, well, that's what seat belts are for. You know, like really consider wearing one. um, seat belts. Um, and like our suits have like I don't know. I'm not gonna do jokes for everything, but you get the idea. Um, it's just, but Magneto kind of goes different. Like it's just like I don't know why this particular. I guess because it was just nuclear war, and he just realized that like he talks to him and he gets the idea, and it's like you know what, um, this actually could be a problem, and so Magneto, of course, goes without. And I mean, really, what could you do if you knew that someone was going to betray you? Like, some people will kind of hint at the fact that they're going to betray you, and you can't just stop working with someone like that. You can't just be like, oh, well, because he's just going to do his own thing. I mean, at least not in this situation, you know? But I know you're thinking, like, wow, look at the effects, though, right? Like, they lifted, like, a fucking 300-foot long submarine. I don't even know. I think it might be more than 300 feet. Like really, a huge submarine out of the ocean. That's what causes the plane to crash. You know we had airbags, right? I mean, but so they did kind of screw with the island a little bit, but yeah, but things change. It's interesting. It's the way That's what Azazel does. He just teleports them up real high and then he drops them. And I really like this is this is a pretty good fight. I mean, I thought about it and it was just like, you know what, this actually is good. It's just I don't know. But tell me what you think about Kevin Bacon. You know, really, I mean, is he a good actor? I probably like. I think he's kind of like fucking what's his name, Kiefer Sutherland. You know, like really, he's just like him. You know, like a popular television artist, but I don't necessarily know like what sorts of thing. I mean, besides 24s, you know, 20 foes, whatever you want to say, 24s. Um, Kiefer Sutherland hasn't been in terribly much. I mean, he was in this one movie, but I'm probably not going to do it just because I didn't like it. And it was called Freeway, but I don't know, like Kevin Bacon himself is kind of, I mean, he does a good job, but I mean, it's just, I don't know what movies he could be in. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what he could do. I mean, that's the thing when like there are actors, but like they just don't see in my age, seem like they're in my age field group. You know, and it's like I have to kind of delve deeper in order to find their material. And that's just like the type of person that I'm dealing with. So, and I'm not saying that he's out of my category, but it's just I have not heard of him that well. I mean, this is for older women, older men. They can definitely say that really this is kind of like where things go awry or awry rather. I said like I know it's not awry, but like like what, the beetle girl like really like oh we better watch out like she's gonna suck her blood or something, you know, like I think you just gotta pay attention. Azazel's a little bit more of a compatible villain. The beetle girl might make my thighs itch. Uh, Magneto kills him. That's it. But he also says, you know what? He's right. I really. And it's just very minuscule the way he kills him. He just puts like a quarter through his head. Just to show, hey, not all deaths have to be hack and slash. They really don't. You don't have to lose an arm to die. You don't have to lose your neck to die. You don't have to get your breathing cut off to die. You can totally. Really like the sort of skills that he did. It's interesting. It's like a quarter right through the brain. They just say, you know what, fuck it, we're going to attack them both. Ouch. The Hellfire Club. I'm reading the box for this, and it says like they were trying to stop the Hellfire Club in a global nuclear war. So it's just a rather standard bunch of things that happen in this film, and like they're preparing to open fire on them. I think the third X-Men movie is going to come out in 2016. I'm pretty sure that it is. Really, it's just like, yeah. The thing I don't get is like they only go to 3 though. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. They go to 3, and then that's it. This woman, she's just out of place. Like, oh my god, like this is it. Like I can't cook. I can't cook my. I can't make my pie a la mode anymore. And it was special too. Like really, special custard, special crust. But this is where the film kind of takes an interesting run, just because it's like, okay, so what happens with all these missiles? Like, that's definitely enough to sink an island. I think probably like like one nuclear missile is. I mean, I don't know if they're not atom bombs. They're just missiles. That's the thing. They're not like they wouldn't have the mushroom cloud explosion. And I know like there's no way that they could do that because it would harm the actors. Like if they couldn't be anywhere near those explosions, like there's just no way. And so they had to be missiles, whatever. I'm not gonna say it missiles every time, but like this is what happens to Charles Xavier. I mean, he was just too much of a hero for his own good. Now, really, she's that's it. It was her that did it. Now, Magneto actually cares. Like, I mean, he's just like, but the damage is done. Like really, it's just now. Now, considering this was in the '60s, they look a lot older in the original X-Men. I mean, like if they were like in their 20s in the '60s, they're in their 60s in the 2000s. And the thing about that is, Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart look a lot older than that. That's like the only thing. But I mean, I don't want to cross out continuity because like those were good. I mean, like the original X-Men was really good. That was the first Marvel film outside of Blade, and it is a classic. I think maybe not necessarily like a classic, but it's not a bad film. Like Wolverine actually fit his role as Wolverine. Cyclops was kind of a prick, and every other character that was in that film. I mean, they only had Cyclops. It was just like there's Wolverine for player one, and there's Cyclops for like the man with the girlfriend in the car. But there wasn't like anyone besides that. It was just Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, and um Rogue. Two guys, two girls, and that's all it was. And then there was Professor X, and like I mean, really, if there was like 8 heroes, it would be kind of difficult. But I don't know, like X-Men 3 kind of just really only focused on Wolverine, just because. I mean, that's the only thing I didn't like about X-Men 3: The Last Stand was just that um it was Like it's funny how diplomatic they're about this. Like, yeah, we're gonna fight you now. Just understand that. Like, hey, um, I'll give you advice, but just understand that if I see you out on the street, it's wartime. Like, forget about it. We're enemies now, but we'll leave. I mean, some people in some fields would see that as cool, but I mean, it's just like, if they're the villain, why are we just saluting each other? Like, I salute you, but I'll kill you. You know, it's just a little bit kind of flippant. But I mean, that's the world that X Men was created in, and that's really how Marvel movies are. Really. I mean, in the original X Men, like Professor X meets Magneto in like this huge plastic prison, and then he leaves, and Magneto's like, I'll be out of here. I don't like X2 just because of the end of the film. Like it kind of like Deep Water kind of freaks me out, and at the very end of that film, like Archangel appears out of the water, and it's just really freaky. Like it just that's a shuddering thought. And I know like I think it had something to do with Jean Grey because like Jean Grey dies and she becomes Phoenix, and that's what it was, and that freaked me out. Just a phoenix rising from water. There's something about that, but there's lots of Marvel movies that are out right now, and that's just what they've been doing. Like everyone's kind of getting like their fix of everything. Like apparently Captain America is really popular, which is funny because like the last Captain America people said was not good, but now all of a sudden they're saying, wait, Captain America is good. You know what I mean? It's just like, ugh, Captain America sucks, but wait a minute. You don't diss the America. You don't diss Captain America. You don't mess with the Zohan. Like just it's just all of a sudden people would stick up for it. But I mean, there's gonna be a Captain America 3. I know that there's going to be, and I don't know what it's gonna be called yet. I get the feeling it'll probably come out in like 2017, maybe 2018. But the thing about it is that people are actually starting to grow up. So like if you were 20 in 2000, you're 34 now. So it's almost like, more importantly, if you were 13, you're now 25. So like the people that grew up with the original X-Men are now like in their 20s. So it's like they have to kind of pay homage to their roots, but at the same token get some new fans. And like she just automatically is like like it's like, calm down, Puss in Boots, like right off the bat, like she just shows her claws, like, hey, um, that's it. So like, that was a long movie. So I'm definitely gonna get something to eat. I will upload this today. It is 5 o'clock. I've been up for 2 hours. Like literally, folks. I woke up. I talked to my grandmother for like 5 minutes, and then I walked in here and did this movie. That's all I fucking done. So like, it's been like, I hate how I watch one movie and the day just goes to waste. But like, I want this fame. So like, just pay attention. I'm probably going to do basketball, and following that, I've got like Napoleon Dynamite, Swingers, Mallrats, Starsky and Hutch, several fuck Twilight, just several films that I'm going to do. Stay tuned, everyone. This has been Zen or Titanic.